Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Anonymous Hedgehog podcast. My name is Maya.
And my name is Rich.
And we'll be your hosts. So today our topic is how the people around you influence you. So this is a topic that we came up with when we were talking about a different episode, and I thought it was just very interesting how some people they kind of follow the majority, but also other people they enjoy kind of disagreeing with the majority. And I've always thought that was just very interesting. Like what determines whether or not you we were talking about our certain beliefs, right? And so some people hold their beliefs because they were raised in a family setting and all their family had those beliefs and it was kind of passed down. But also some people, for example, they believe the exact opposite of what their parents believe because they kind of want to rebel against their parents. So I just thought it's interesting. How do you think that is determined?
Yeah, I feel like within all of us, there's just some sort of inner rebellion force that just wants to disagree with the masses. But what's interesting is even when you disagree with the masses, you end up coming to a smaller group of people that agree with you in disagreeing with those masses. It always ends up being the five nearest people are the average of how you are, that quote. So it's the five nearest people that you are around will also disagree with the masses if you happen to disagree with the masses too.
What I've always, when I was thinking about this the other day, I was saying that, I think that when we're talking about, disagreeing with the masses, I've always thought that there is, a correct way to disagree, and there's, an incorrect way to disagree. I don't know if that makes sense, but, there is, some disagreement, because, people online, they make these videos that are unpopular opinions, right? And those videos get a lot of views. So people actually like hearing these kind of unpopular opinions. But my theory is that there is a popular way to disagree and then there's an unpopular way to disagree. I think some people they'll disagree kind of slightly, or they'll agree with the bigger picture, but they'll kind of disagree slightly in that if you post a video on those kind of disagreements, it gives you kind of clout and things like that. But some people, if you just if you're not part of that popular disagreement, right? You're not there is a type of disagreement that is more socially acceptable than other types of disagreement, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that the more socially acceptable disagreement or the popular disagreement is actually what people would deem unpopular opinion, because everyone wants to hear unpopular opinions. It's the cool new thing. And I think the reason why is because unpopular opinion tends to be that subcategory of humor. It just tends to be very trivial things. I remember you mentioned once going into the shower with your socks on or something. Everyone would disagree with that, but that's not something offensive when I hear someone goes into the shower with their socks on. I'm not getting angry. I'm not responding with a paragraph of just rage. And so I think honestly, it depends on your motives of having that disagreement. So with the person that goes to the shower with their socks on, chances are the reason they posted that isn't because they actually do it, but it's because maybe they've done it one or two times and they thought it was really funny because it's something unique. And then that motivated them to keep doing it. And that motivated them to make it public.
Yeah, so where I saw the socks, you put your socks in the shower, it was on r/popular opinion. And browsing through Reddit, the unpopular opinion subreddit, I think it's so fascinating because I find that it makes me think whether or not unpopular opinions are actually unpopular. I feel some of them are just unsaid or unspoken, but I feel they actually do seem quite popular. Everyone, if you look at most the most upvoted unpopular opinions, everyone's just oh man, I can't believe I'm so glad you said this because I was thinking the same thing. I thought that I was the only one who thought this way, blah blah blah. And it's so weird that they're not actually unpopular. They're kind of just it's taboo to say them.
Oh. I don't know if that's the case. How does it work? Is it you upvote it if you agree, or do you upvote it if you just think it's really controversial?
Well, it's kind of both. People are saying that you should upvote it if you disagree because that means it's actually unpopular.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Some people, like, it's kind of, I mean, there's no right way to do it. People just, like, upvote opinions that they want to or whatever. It doesn't matter.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it's, like, I find that the majority of, like, the unpopular opinions, like, they're actually quite popular. Like, a lot of them are just, I don't know. For example, like, there was one we were talking about the internet activism. There's one saying, like, oh, like, just because, like, you post, like, a black square, or just because you post this stuff doesn't mean you actually care. And I feel like that's, like, actually, like, it's actually a popular opinion, but you just can't say it out loud.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And another, like, facet of this is just, like, the fact that some of these opinions concern things that we don't do with other people, so we don't know if it's popular. Like with the showering with your socks on.
Yeah, that's
I have
true.
never seen any of my friends shower before. So the chances are, like, there's a 50% chance that everyone showers with their socks on, and I just don't know. And so if I personally, I shower with my socks on, and I say, hey, like, maybe if I post this, people will think it's unpopular because people just don't know how other people shower, then chances are it'll become an unpopular opinion.
That's true. This goes back to the thing, like, we only see the world through how we experience it. Like, because I was thinking, like, or like the milk versus cereal. Like, I mean, not milk. Like, you put, like, the milk first or you put the cereal first. Like, I never really thought about it that much. And it's just, like, I guess I don't care that much. But I realized, like, I never actually, like, is there a right way to do it? Like, I never actually know how other people do it. Like, do they put the milk in or do they put the cereal in first? Like, and things like when we talk about, like, the inner monologue, like, if you've never seen those YouTube videos of people saying that they don't have an inner monologue, like, I would not know that that's a thing. Because I just, like, I feel like you just assume that everyone experiences the world the way that you experience it.
Yeah, I think the key to, like, making one of those unpopular opinion posts is to take something very trivial that you do every day, but that you don't see other people do every day. Something that's part of your routine, but it's only part of your routine, and you don't have a glimpse of other people's routines. So, like, for example, when you brush your teeth, like, chances are you haven't seen very many other people brush their teeth because it's not something we do in public. So you could easily make up, like, an unpopular opinion of, like, oh, like, I brush my teeth without toothpaste and then just, like, swish the toothpaste around in my mouth or something. Like, I just made that up in, like, a second, and it can be a believable unpopular opinion just because other people can't see me actually brush my teeth.
I think this brings up an interesting, like, you were talking about brushing your teeth. I would say the majority of people, when they brush their teeth, they do it the same, like, way, right? So, like, how is it that we never see other people do it, yet we all end up doing it pretty much the same way?
No, I actually haven't, like, a personal anecdote about
Really?
brushing your teeth that goes totally against it.
What happened?
Okay, so what is your process of brushing your teeth? Just, like, walk me through it.
Like, you put toothpaste on the toothbrush, and then I put the toothbrush under
Well, you wash the toothbrush first, right?
Do what? I feel like I do, but I don't really consciously. Yeah, I like rinse it under the sink.
Yeah.
And then I usually will put it, like, once I put toothpaste on, I'll usually, like, put it under the faucet because I like it, like, wet or whatever, and then I'll put it on.
There's our first disagreement. I have never done that in my entire life.
Really?
Never.
Oh my god, that's so weird. I find the taste
Doesn't
of...
that just waste the toothpaste?
I find the taste of dry toothpaste so gross.
Well, that's why you rinse the toothbrush before putting the toothpaste on it. You don't like make a toothpaste sandwich out of water, Brad. Like, you don't water your toothbrush and then water it again after putting the paste on.
Doesn't make any sense. Wait, after I put the toothpaste on, I, like, rinse it just, like, for, like, a second, just to, like, make it, like, moist or, like, wet. So, and then it doesn't feel, like, super, like, pasty and dry in your mouth.
That's so weird. Okay, whatever. Let's move on.
I'm sure there are other people that do that.
I doubt it. But okay, the next step. What's the next step?
And then I just brush my teeth, like you, like I.
No. Like, do you move your hand or do you move your head when you brush your teeth?
What kind of idiot moves their head?
I do.
You move your head? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. That's literally the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Okay, think about... Sorry. That's so dumb.
I just put the toothbrush on my teeth in one stationary spot.
So you keep your arm stationary.
Yeah, and then I
That's
just move
so
my hand
stupid.
from right to left.
What the? That is dumb. Oh my god. Okay, I literally keep my head in one place, and I move I move my arm kind of up and down and side to
Oh,
side.
you go up and down too?
Do you not go up and down, dude? How is your dentist
never go
not
up
killed
and
you
down.
yet? How is your teeth not you need to go up and down when you brush your teeth?
Well, I mean, I just feel like going up and down is such a weird movement. I'd rather go left and right and then shift my whole like head up or down and then go left and right.
Doesn't your neck hurt?
Well, okay, to be fair, I'm not like fully doing an entire range of motion with my head. Like I move my head a little bit and I also move my hand a little bit. So it's like a 2-in-1 combo.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I think you should post this on r/unpopular opinion. That's like you're definitely the only one that does that.
Okay, let's just keep going. Next step.
Okay,
What do you do after that?
And then after I'm done brushing my teeth, I just spit out like the excess like toothpaste and whatever. And then I rinse my toothbrush under the faucet, and then I rinse my mouth. And then
Well, let's take a step back. When you spit out like the excess toothpaste residue, before you do that, do you not put water in your mouth?
No, well I spit out like what I can, and then I rinse my mouth.
That's interesting because I think I think it depends for me, because sometimes if there's a lot, I'll just spit it out first and then I'll put water in my mouth to rinse it out. Sometimes if there's not that much, I'll put water in my mouth and then spit that out, like the combination of the water.
I feel like I've done that too. Yeah, that's not that weird. But I think the moving your head thing is super weird. So do you have a manual toothbrush, not an electric one?
Yeah, I have a manual one.
How do you use? I don't understand
you have
how
electric?
you. No, I have a manual one, but how do you not go up and down when you brush your teeth? Because you need to get the tops and bottom of your teeth too.
Yeah, but it's I mean, you're going horizontally, but you're just angling horizontally at different points. So you're always starting at the top middle of your upper jaw, and then your first streak should be directly left at a 0-degree angle, and then your second streak should be at a 10-degree down.
I see. So it's I see what you mean. So you just angle your toothbrush different ways.
Yeah, from the same point until you cover every point.
I think that's so. I'm pretty sure you're one of the only people that actually move your head.
I mean, it's okay. Again, I exaggerate a little. I'm not fully only moving my head. A lot of it is moving my head, and it's a combination of both. But that's not even where it gets to the weird part. I didn't even expect this to be the disagreement. I thought the disagreement would come on later. When you actually gargle the water, you swish it around in your mouth and then spit it out, right?
Yes.
So for me, since I was little, I would just always I would do the neck gargle, the throat gargle.
Oh. With the toothpaste water?
Well, I would first do the regular rinsing inner mouth gargle, and then once all the toothpaste is gone, I would do the neck one. And I always thought this was just a common normal thing everyone does, because my sister used to do this when she was little, which I don't know where she learned it from, but I would make a really loud sound while doing it. It's not just a normal...
the gargling. I know the sound here. I mean,
no. It's a staticky sound. It's type of sound.
I think I know what you're talking about, but I just don't see the point of doing that. The only reason I would ever actually gargle water is when you're sick and you need to gargle salt water. That's the only time I actually do that. Otherwise, I never do that. Doesn't it hurt your throat?
No, I think it actually clears. I think at the end of the day, there actually ends up just naturally mucus ends up building up for every person. So I guess it does clear things up, even if you're not sick.
I think that's weird. So how do we? So we actually don't do all these normal things that we take for granted, the process of brushing our teeth. That's so. It's so different. Also for your another thing, for your toothbrush, do you put in a cup or something?
I have in 3rd grade we made You know those clay cup
Yeah,
things?
okay.
I use that.
Okay. So when you rinse your mouth, do you use the cup to put water into your mouth, or do you just like use your hand?
Oh, I
and
use
just,
my
like...
hands.
Okay, I use my hand, yeah. But I remember one time, I think I was a sleepover and I was really young, and I started using my hand for the faucet, and the girl like looked at me so weird.
Really?
She was like, "Why are you using your hands? I use this cup thing." And I'm like, I mean, I have used a cup before, but I feel like, I don't know, it's just easier to put use my hand and like cup water into my mouth.
Yeah, I've also seen like on TV shows.
I've seen on TV shows, yeah.
On TV shows, that's the norm. Like the norm is not to use your hands for anything.
Yeah, also I feel like, but that's just like, it's kind of like cinematic. Like it would just look ugly if you used your hands.
Yeah, so I wonder how many people actually use their hands, how many people use cups.
Wait.
That's the point I'm trying to get at. Like even these simple tasks, I feel like everyone does everything differently and you just don't know because these tasks are independent and you don't do them with other people.
This brings up such an interesting point. It's just like, I feel like a lot of how we do things is influenced by like the media and by like kind of TV shows because so for example, a show that I watch is The Bachelor, but like in The Bachelor they have these things called the dinner dates where you like are supposed to just like sit and like you're supposed to eat dinner, but they don't actually eat because eating is supposed to be like people look ugly when they eat or whatever. But that made me think of like when we see like things like on TV, it's portrayed like so differently than the thing how it would actually happen. Like people have this criticism of porn too, like saying like if you watch like porn, like people say that it gives you an unrealistic expectation of what sex is supposed to be like.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's just anything with the media. Like even the food advertisements, like if you look at how much thought goes into like taking a picture of a Big Mac versus an actual Big Mac, like in the picture of the Big Mac, it's plastic. It's not actually a real burger. It's like the cheese is like a yellow piece of plastic. The bun isn't even an actual bun. Like chances are it's not made with the same bread. And like every single like sesame seed that's on like the bun is like meticulously placed in a perfect spot.
Yeah.
And so they definitely do set unrealistic expectations.
So then what are we to say that like something is normal? Like a way of eating, for example, is normal. Or like why can't someone, let's say, like, I don't know, like brush their teeth with like a hairbrush, and like why is that not considered weird? Like, you know, like just something we would consider like what if someone just didn't brush their teeth at all and like went their whole life without brushing their teeth? Like why would that not be weird? Because they've always, like, for example, if their family did it that way.
Yeah.
Like,
actually, for the first probably the first 13 years of my life, I only brushed my teeth once a day, not twice a day.
Yeah, I did that too. Oh my god. I thought
Wait, really?
Yeah, I did that too because my parents had only done I never brushed my teeth in the morning because I don't know why, but no one had ever told me to brush in the morning.
Wait, you didn't do it in the I never did it in the night. Wait, you didn't do it in the morning? Seems so essential to me.
I only did it at night. I just like would rinse my mouth in the morning, like when I was in elementary school.
That's so funny. Again, another huge difference. And then I switched to doing it twice a day once I realized like this is like probably healthy for my teeth and this is something that everyone does. But before that, it wasn't something that's just like genetically built into you. Like you don't just know you're supposed to brush twice a day.
So then how do we come up with these kind of traditions? Like, so why did you start brushing twice a day then?
I think I only started doing it once I got old enough to like have a phone, and by then I would like FaceTime my friends and things like that.
Okay.
And if you're FaceTiming your friend at night and they're like, be right back, like I'm gonna go brush my teeth, it like makes you think like, wait, why is he brushing his teeth? Like, or why is she brushing her teeth? And that gets you into the mindset. And honestly, I think like peer pressure is so much more influential than like parental pressure because I remember like since I was young, my parents would tell me to put coconut oil in my hair. I would never do it because it smells bad. I literally never would do it.
Coconut oil smells good. What the?
Oh, yeah, well, again, that's where I'm getting to. And then I got to high school, and a bunch of people were putting in their hair, and they were voluntarily doing it. Like when I'd FaceTime people, their hair would be slick and they'd be like, yeah, like I just got some new coconut oil and it smells so good. That completely changed my mindset. And I literally like asked my parents to get me coconut oil so that I could put it in my hair.
I feel like I know exactly. This is not the same thing, but I had a very similar conversation with my friends. We were talking about how in elementary school, so we all have Asian parents, right? And we would always, like, our Asian parents would pack us, like, fried rice or, like, whatever, like, Asian food. And then we would always be jealous of our white friends that, like, had, like, Lunchables and, like, things like that. And, like, a peanut butter jelly sandwich. Like, that was just so foreign to us. But then, like, now in high school, when I asked my dad, I mean, like, so, like, when I would ask my dad to, like, for example, like, I would ask him, like, could you pack me lunch? He would give me, like, a straight banana or something. He would just give me something, like, so, like, he wouldn't even bother cooking me lunch. And I think about, like, and I would look around at all, like, my friends' parents who had, like, my friends who had, like, had parents had packed them, like, actual food. And I feel like I'd be really jealous of that, if that makes sense. It's just, like, I feel like the peer pressure, like, almost, I feel like now bringing, or, like, like, eating kind of, like, exotic foods or eating, is kind of more normalized. It's kind of trendy. So, like, everyone wants, like, Asian foods or, like, different types of cuisine. But I feel like back in, like, the early 2000s, it was, like, considered very, like, weird if you brought, like, Asian food.
Oh, that's so
outside,
true.
Right? Because, like, now it's so trendy. Like, at least we're here on the West Coast. Like boba guys and, like all these milk tea shops and, like, all these, it's, like, super trendy. But I feel like it wasn't trendy, like, back in, like, early 2000s.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I had the exact same experience of, like, I would, like, tell my parents not to pack me.
Yeah, because, like,
food.
I wanted Lunchables, and I think back, and I'm like, Lunchables are literally crackers, ham, and cheese.
Yeah.
Why did I want that?
Exactly.
Like, that looks so unappetizing. I was like, why would any parent feed their kid this is, like, disgusting.
I know. And they were so expensive. Like, it's not even that, like, you can't afford better food, so you're getting Lunchables. It's like Lunchables is the food that costs, like, a lot of money. Like, you could get your kid, like, a much better meal for that same price. It's like $6 or $7 for, like, crackers.
I'm just like, I don't know. I remember being so jealous of, like, the kids at our school that would bring Lunchables, and I'm like, and now that's just, like, that seems sad. Like, if you just
that's
have
not even
crackers for
it's
lunch.
not even enough for a snack for me. Like, not even close to enough for a snack. Like, it's an appetizer to a snack. I remember distinctly, actually, one time. Again, like, my memory is really bad, but I have these fragmented, tiny, like, individual scenes that are just perfectly HD in my mind. Okay. One of the scenes was, like, me and my mom were in Safeway, and, like, it's so ironic because she was, like, in the fresh produce aisle, like, getting good vegetables to give me, like, a good lunch or whatever the next day. And I remember specifically, like, running to the Lunchables aisle, grabbing, like, 2, putting it in the cart, and my mom was like, no, like, you can only get 1 because this is just a waste of, like, money and food and, in general, just a waste of, like, quality. And I remember being so upset. I was like, fine, I'll take the 1. And when I did end up eating it, I was so excited. Like, I remember, like, I literally distinctly remember opening the packaging and, like, putting the little plastic cheese thing on the cracker.
Like, you would, like, stack it in, like, a sandwich,
like, and stuff.
Oh my god,
eating it. And the fact that I still remember this just shocks me because I was that excited about crackers.
Right? It's so sad. Like, oh my god.
Like, how did they market it so well? Because obviously the parents were smart enough to know that that's not a good meal, but it was the kids that would beg the parents to get some.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not like even it tasted good. I'm pretty sure that stuff didn't taste good either. Like, I feel like it was just regular ham. Like, you know, like, you could just buy ham and just cut it and, like, buy cheese and buy crackers and, like, you could make bulk Lunchables, but they just wouldn't be in that nice packaging and, like...
It was the packaging. Yeah, I remember the packaging was, like, bright yellow. And like the color of the font, I think, was, like, bright orange or something like that, orange or red. And so it drew attention from, like, tables and tables away from each other. You would see if someone brought Lunchables, and you would see it and you'd be like, dang, I want that.
I feel like this brings me back to my point, like I was saying in the beginning, was just, like, I feel like there is a correct way to be different, if that makes sense. Like now, like Asian food and like now with like the popularity of like mukbang and stuff on YouTube, I feel like Asian food and kind of exotic, like that kind of exotic food is considered trendy or it's considered cool, but there is like a lot of types of other different food that is not considered cool.
Yeah, it's like there's still a set right and wrong. It's just it's expanded in a certain direction. It's the same thing with like TikTok. With you know how there's these dances now where it's like you do a dance and when the beat drops you change into your cultural clothing. And there's a bunch of TikTok. There's like trends now to put the hashtag like hashtag Indian or like hashtag Chinese, and then like you wear your cultural clothing, and then they get like millions of likes because it's like, wow, like she's so unique, exotic, cultural. In the past, like if you would wear your cultural clothing, people would laugh at you. At least when I was younger, like if I would even think about wearing like the Indian cultural clothing is called a kurta. Like if I thought about wearing that to school or something, I would get laughed at. But if I wore that now, like it would just be like, whoa, like that's so cool. Like, can I get one? Like, where did you buy it?
Yeah, I feel like it's just like, it's almost like we do like I feel like it is kind of more diverse, like what we consider normal. But at the same time, like, it's almost like when people say like you like fetishize like a certain kind of culture or whatever. It's like there's a certain way that you want them to be normal, if that makes sense. It's kind of like I see this with like Chinese food too. So like when it's kind of like what American people think of as Chinese food is not actual Chinese food. Like they wouldn't want to eat actual Chinese food. You know what I mean? It's like they want to eat like you know wontons and fried noodles and pot stickers and whatever, things like that. But they don't want to eat like, for example, like those like weird. Okay, Chinese people eat exotic. I know this is like. I mean, this is like a joke now because of Corona, but it's actually true. Chinese people eat a lot of exotic meat. And like, I remember when I went to China like a few years ago, I would eat like, you would eat like liver and you would eat like these like weird, like, I don't know what they're called, but like, they're kind of like blood clots, if that makes sense. Like, they sound super gross, but it's just like, you're literally eating like blocks of blood. And like, American people would not stand for that. Like, people would not eat that stuff. But it's like kind of like the mukbang culture, like a lot of a lot of like other Chinese food has become more mainstream, but like they wouldn't want to eat like the actual kind of like different, like, you know, the more like weird Chinese food.
Yeah, it's just interesting how some things find their way into the mainstream and some things don't. Because like even the things that do find their way into the mainstream, I wouldn't argue that they're not Chinese, because they're still Chinese. They're just like, they're not like extremely authentic, but they're still Chinese. And same thing goes with like Indian things, but like it's very selective as to like what makes the cut and what doesn't. Like with the kurta I was talking about, it's just a very specific type that like guys will wear on during their TikToks when they do like their cultural TikToks. Like it's always a black colored kurta with like a pattern around the neck, every single one, and they always wear like a gold chain with it. The gold chain is like more of like an American cultural type thing, spin-off. So but like if I were to wear like one of the brightly colored kurtas from India, like the, you know, red, green, blue ones, and like I didn't wear the chain with it, and I had like an Indian mustache on too, because that's in India, like every guy has the mustache. That's just the culture there. Okay. Then no one would like my TikTok, not a single person, because it doesn't fit the narrative of what is considered good Indian culture.
Yeah, I feel like I was thinking about like if you were to wear like, I feel like even now if you were to wear like those traditional I know those like brightly colored Indian, I don't know what they're called, but like if you were to wear that outside, like people would kind of stare at you and they would think it's weird. I feel like this also brings it to kind of back to the culture of like, I feel like the internet kind of just distorts our reality, like distorts like our perception of things like a lot, because I don't know, like sometimes you ever have a feeling where like sometimes you go on the internet and feel like the whole world is just collapsing, but then you kind of like turn off your phone and like you go outside and you're like, oh, like really everything is fine, right? And like right, and it's such a like dichotomy, like it's so weird, right? You'll just turn off your phone, like Twitter is blowing up, Instagram is blowing up, whatever, but then you just like go outside and you're like, oh, it's literally just another day, and like nothing, like this stuff like doesn't matter at all.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot now recently. It's also like an interesting hypothetical question. Obviously not to downplay anything that's happening now. Like obviously everything that's going on now is
Yeah.
extremely important. But like an interesting question for the mind is like, if you don't see it happening, is it really happening? Like what if all these things that people are talking about on the internet, like these mass protests and stuff like that, like what if that was all just like a Hollywood stage? Because you're not actually seeing it. Like say you haven't actually gone out to a real protest, but the entire internet has been blowing up with protests recently. Like
Yeah.
what's to say that the protests aren't just like staged? Like what if they're just not real?
I was actually like, I've actually kind of thought about this. It's just like, what if it's like, yeah, obviously, like, we're not like denying the reality of it, but just kind of saying, like, if it's not real, then like, what if like it was kind of like, it's kind of like another Matrix example. Like, what if it's kind of like the government playing these tapes to make people actually protest because they think other people are protesting? Because I remember my mom, I think she just told me this like random like joke or whatever, and she was saying it was about this guy. He was saying like he went to like Bill Clinton, and then he was like, it's just like, oh, can I marry your daughter?
Yeah.
And then Bill Clinton's like, no, why would you marry my daughter? And then he's like, oh, but I'm about to be like the CEO of this like bank, or you know what I'm talking about, right? The joke.
Going,
and then he goes to like this bank, and he's like, oh, you should make me the CEO. And then he's like, why should I make the CEO? Oh, because I'm Bill Clinton's like son-in-law. And then like, it's just like, it's like none of the thing like existed before you kind of made it exist.
Yeah, it's like the whole fake it till you make it
concept. Super weird.
I think we should talk about faking it till you make it in a whole separate episode.
Yeah.
Just because I think it's so real, especially now with like Instagram followers. Like just to get that initial boost, people buy followers, and then people will follow people just because they think they're an influencer because they have a lot of followers.
Yeah,
even though those were just followers that they bought. Yeah, and then that helps them pick up traction, and then they've successfully faked it until they made it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, we'll just end it here. That was an interesting conversation. So thank you guys all so much for listening, and we'll see you all next time.